Hello, welcome. Thank you for tuning in to this inaugural edition of Bringing the World to Prince George's County. I'm Council Chair Mel Franklin, your host. We are taking big steps on purpose to transform Prince George's County into a destination for the world. Are you ready? Stay tuned. Our incredible County Executive, Rochernell Baker III, joins me for a conversation about the county's economic development strategy and our economic progress on this first edition of Bringing the World to Prince George's County, which comes your way in just a moment.
Welcome to Bringing the World to Prince George's County, a production of the Prince George's County Council. The world is coming, and Prince George's County is ready. Whether it's National Harbor expansion, new businesses and communities, development around our transit stations, new federal and state tenants, a new regional medical center, new entertainment venues, or a true downtown, we are becoming an innovative leader in a 21st century economy. This is Bringing the World to Prince George's County with your host, Council Chairman Mel Franklin.
Hi, and thank you for tuning in to Bringing the World to Prince George's County. This program is a production of the Prince George's County Council. I'm your host, Council Chair Mel Franklin. Bringing the World to Prince George's County focuses on our economic development success and the great work we are doing together to move Prince George's County forward. The world is coming to our county, and we will be ready. Over the last 4 years, the County Council has built a tremendous partnership and foundation for change with our county executive. We're excited to continue our work with him on the path to greatness, and we know the best is yet to come. I'm proud to welcome County Executive Rochernell Baker III as my very first guest on this inaugural edition of Bringing the World to Prince George's County. Thank you so much, and I really appreciate you being here. Good to see you.
Thank you, Mel. It's great to be on the show, and let me congratulate you on becoming chair and the work you've already started doing as the chair of the council. So
thank you so much.
Pleased to be here.
Appreciate it. And you know, we've of course you're just completing your first term in office. And what would you say 4 years later? What are your personal reflections? What about the job has been the most rewarding? Would you say?
You know, it's interesting. I think a lot about, you know, the way, and yourself also, the way we came into office, right, and all the things that we see happening in Prince George's County now. As you said in your intro, you know, the world is coming to Prince George's County. I don't think anybody 4 years ago would believe that would happen. Right. But now look at, you know, Tanger Outlet Mall. Look at, you know, the hospital that we're going to build. Look at MGM Destination Resort. Right. The fact that I did a mission to Brazil, and we're talking about actually bringing international companies to Prince George's County. So for me, the most rewarding thing that I've seen is that people are starting to believe that Prince George's County, as the Washington Post said, is the place to be in a county on the move.
Absolutely. And keeping with that theme, what would you say to someone looking to invest in the county? Let's say I'm a person, I'm just taking a fresh look at the Washington, D.C. region. I look at Prince George's County. What would be the first thing you say to them as to why they should invest here?
You know, I think all the stuff that's happening in the county, the fact that we have these metro stations that we're going to develop all over the county, but more so than that is the work that we have done, you know, the county executive's office and the county council to target areas so it can happen. So our EDI fund, where we're actually putting our dollars out there to work for investment. So that's one thing I'd say to businesses. Sure. Look at the work we did with the hospital, putting it around a transit-oriented development and making it not just a hospital but a regional medical center, which then is going to open up opportunities for business to come there for mixed use. Sure. What we're doing at Branch Avenue, you know, one of the projects that you led on. So I would say look at these things, and what I can guarantee people is in the Washington region, the growth you're going to see over the next 10 years will happen primarily in Prince George's County. And that's the thing we like to say to folks.
And I couldn't agree more. You actually touched on healthcare, and we're really doing some exciting things in healthcare. You touched on it. If you could expound a little bit, how are we making ourselves into a destination for the world in terms of healthcare?
You know, I'm very, very proud of the work that we did, starting with your first chair of the council, Ingrid Turner, who elevated healthcare along with our office to the number 3 most important issue facing Prince George's County, right behind public safety and education. What it's meant that is our approach to doing a hospital was not just to do a hospital, do a regional healthcare medical center, but also connect with the clinics and federally qualified health centers throughout the county, and then elevate access to quality health care throughout Prince George's County. That put us on the cutting edge of wellness, dental care in areas, especially underserved areas. So it elevated our ability to talk about health care in the way that I think it always should have been. Because if you look at, the changing health care in Maryland, it disproportionately affects Prince George's County and Baltimore City. And as the largest jurisdiction, second largest jurisdiction in the state, we should be the leader in that. And we're now doing that.
And you touched on healthcare. We also know we're really serious about bringing the FBI headquarters to Prince George's County. We had a great press conference / pep rally with all of our federal, state, and business and labor partners. Tell us a little bit of why you think Prince George's County is the place to be for the FBI.
Yeah, we're all in.
Right, we are all in.
But I mean, that's another thing. Just think about that. At that rally, when we had the governor, lieutenant governor, our state and federal partners together saying we want the FBI to be located in Prince George's County. That has not only never happened in Prince George's County where everybody agrees it should come here. It has never happened in the state of Maryland where they agreed on one location and said we're going to put all of our resources behind bringing the FBI to the county. In my case, I think the best place for the FBI and what gives us the greatest opportunity to attract the FBI to the county is Greenbelt. The federal government and the president has talked about transit-oriented development. Well, this site is right on the green line. 40% of the workforce for the FBI comes from Maryland. And a great portion of that workforce come from Prince George's County. So it helps the environment because they can get on the metro and take it
traffic, right?
That's right, come down. And then we can use that as a catalyst to build redevelopment around the Greenbelt, city of Greenbelt, so mixed-use development. I mean, all those things that the federal government has talked about are going to happen at the site in Prince George's County and at the other sites that have put their bid in. There's great potential if it's Landover Mall. I think that's one of the best developable sites in the county. So just a lot to offer.
A lot of opportunity, and one of the things I know this has been an issue very important to you, very important to the council, but I know in particular you've taken a strong leadership on the issue of education and the connection between education and economic development and how our image and perception on terms of our public schools affects economic development. Why don't you speak a little bit to Dr. Maxwell and some of the steps we're taking in education and how that'll affect economic development?
Yeah, we're excited. I mean, I've known for quite a while since I served. I started off serving in the House of Delegates, and I served on appropriations. And so I had the opportunity in the when you were probably still in college, in the early 90s, of watching how other jurisdictions around the county grew. And what I noticed from that perch in Annapolis was every county, not cities, but counties, reputation are based on their public education system. So if you think about Fairfax, Montgomery County, or places like that, Anne Arundel, it was based on the movement in their public school system. So for us in Prince George's County, we're doing a great job in reducing crime. We're doing a great job in taking the issue of health care. But if we don't improve our public education, then people don't move here. Businesses don't invest here, and we can't attract commercial businesses. So the steps we took as a group, and not just the county executive, but the council and our legislative body, to say, you know what, we're all in on education also. So everyone has a part of the reconfiguration of our education system so that we were able to attract one of the best superintendents in the nation.
The world, yeah.
And so it's not just in the world. So it's not just us saying it.
Right.
He was up for superintendent of the year.
That's right.
He was one of the 4 finalists.
Wow.
So it says that he's a great guy. He grew up here in Prince George's County, went to school here, high school here in Prince George's County, got his degrees, college degrees in the county and in Maryland. And so now he's leading a system where he's attracting some of those great teachers we lost back to the county and elevating us. For the first time last year, we saw an increase in enrollment in our school system.
Right. Yeah, and that's impressive, and I think that's a signal that things are starting to move in the right direction in terms of the perception of the system.
That's right. They're starting to believe in us.
They're starting to believe in us. That's a big part of the battle. And you touched on crime, and the connections between public safety and economic development are pretty obvious. But we're doing some really big things in reducing our crime rate. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, I'm so proud of where we are in terms of public safety and the approach we have. As you know, when we came in, not only were the feeling around the state that and around the region that Prince George's County was really on the ropes, but we also saw that crime had gone up. We had 14 homicides in 14 days when we first took office. So that was in 2011. Right now, we are 50% under in terms of homicides from last year's numbers, which were 12% down from the historic 33% reduction in homicides in 2013.
It's impressive.
So it is. You haven't seen anything like that ever. You have to go back to the 80s when the Washington team was in the Super Bowl.
Right. And you touched on the historic nature of that. Can you speak a little bit about how partnership has played such a role in that between the agencies and even with the nonprofit community with your T&I initiative? Can you speak to how that partnership approach has really yielded benefits for us?
Sure can, because one of the things we wanted to make sure, and you know this intimately, is that we didn't want this to be, up and down effect in terms of crime, where you see numbers drop one year and the next year they're up. We wanted sustainability.
Right.
Well, you can't get sustainability simply by hiring police officers and arresting people.
Right.
The only way you're going to get that is by providing a community that has the quality of life that people want and getting to the root causes. And so what our approach was, bringing everybody into our Transforming Neighborhoods initiative. We actually looked at 6 areas of the county where there were health disparities, dropout rates, crime was high, lack of job opportunities, lack of transportation. And we focused on that with the help of the council, seeing the vision that we need to focus on these areas and being unselfish in terms of looking at the holistic approach. Because we've done it that way, the sustaining in the drop in violent crimes has not just gone down that historic 33%, but each year we built on it. And that is why, the holistic approach to public safety and quality of life and education is important.
Absolutely. And you touched on sort of the need for government to be smarter about dealing with public safety. Can you speak to just generally how government, under your leadership, is working smarter in terms of the services it's providing?
Yeah, I think one of the ways is certainly our Transforming Neighborhoods initiative, where we target these areas where, and in many of these neighborhoods, as you know, they don't believe government would actually respond to them.
Right.
So we said not only are we going to respond, we're going to respond in a timely manner. So our T&I leaders meet with the community on a daily basis. We also focus, and you mentioned this earlier, we focus our nonprofit and private sector on those areas where we need the greatest assistance. But we have our 311.
That's right.
So when we go out into the community, if somebody says, hey, there's a pothole that wasn't filled, right at that meeting I say, okay, go dial 311, tell them where it is, and you'll get a number where you can track our progress. Same thing with County Click. So what we've done is we've tried to make sure on a service level for the community that, one, we are customer friendly, but we also have a sense of urgency. And that's what you're seeing with the programs and responses to the community. It's also what you're seeing in the T&I.
Well, it's time for a short break. Please stay with us for more of our conversation with County Executive Baker about our county's economic strategies and successes. On Bringing the World to Prince George's County, we'll return in just a moment.
Quiet, please. Wait a sec. I'll take one. Oh, yeah. All right. All good. Take care. Way to go. Nice. Bring it on. Gotcha. I'm here for you. Oh, no. Please, please, please. I'm waiting. Interesting. Not buying it. Not fair. That's it. This conversation is over. Oh, brother.
Body language can tell you all sorts of things.
I'm having a stroke. I'm having a stroke.
Know the sudden signs. Learn fast. F. Face drooping. A. Arm weakness. S. Speech difficulty. T. Time to call 911 immediately. The sooner they get to the hospital, the sooner they'll get treatment, and that can make a remarkable difference in their recovery. Learn the body language, the sudden signs, and spot a stroke fast.
Welcome back to Bringing the World to Prince George's County, a production of the Prince George's County Council. I'm Council Chair Mel Franklin, your host. We are joined by County Executive Rashawn L. Baker III as we continue our exciting discussion about Prince George's County as a world destination. Thank you once again, Mr. County Executive, for being our guest here on Bringing the World to Prince George's County.
Thank you for having
me. Before we went to break, we were talking about how government is improving in the county its delivery of services. One of the biggest changes you've made, and we as the council worked with you on, is the creation of the Department of Permitting, Inspections, and Enforcement, as we call it, DPI.
Thank you.
And so we want to repeat that long title over and over again. Tell us about why that was important to your economic development strategy.
Well, thank you for explaining what DPI is, so I can go straight to DPI,
right.
first of all. But just think about, we actually created a new department when we came into government, the council and the county executive. Normally what happens when you create a new branch of government, it means more bureaucracy.
Right.
In this case, what we actually did was create a branch of government that actually cut down the bureaucracy. What we said to businesses and individuals, if you need a permit, we're going to send you to one-stop location where everything you need, all the people you need to talk to are there, so that businesses who've complained for years about how long it takes to get stuff done in Prince George's County can now say, no, it doesn't. One of the best examples I saw of why we needed this was, healthcare is a big issue, and we talked a lot about it today.
Sure.
Well, we looked at a senior citizen house that needed to be, or center that was being built. Mm-hmm. It took them 8 years to build it.
Wow.
In a part of the county where we needed it. Mm-hmm. And that was all permitting.
Wow.
So now with this new department is one-stop shop, and you can get your permits in there and get the questions answered. It also helps us respond to citizens' complaints about code enforcement.
Right.
It's all under one agency. Food inspection. And it's what has happened is, when I took a trip to Las Vegas for a conference of businesses and trying to attract retailers to try and get them. Thank you. Trying to get them to come to the county.
Sure.
And the first year they were complaining about permitting.
Right.
This year when I went out there, they thanked us for having DPI and being able to get an answer.
Wow.
Whether they could go forward or not, they at least got a timely answer, and the business could make a decision. So we're very pleased with that.
Right, and I know that the timeliness and the certainty is really important to the business community. Speaking of some of our major economic development projects, I know one of the biggest ones we're going to have coming up is MGM at National Harbor. Can you talk a little bit more about what that means for the county?
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. It is, as I said to people, it's more than slot machines and table games.
Right.
It is really about entertainment and making Prince George's County a destination place for the world.
Right.
When you talk about bringing the world to Prince George's County, this is going to do that. It's going to be almost $1 billion operation or building. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be attractive. It's off the water in the southern part of Prince George's County.
Right.
It's at National Harbor, which is already a destination point. But people from China to Brazil, to all these, who are coming to the Washington area, will come to Prince George's County to be entertained in this facility. And once again, it's already elevated the cachet of Prince George's County, and which will then help us. And the whole idea is to use this to help us attract more businesses,
Sure.
which grow our commercial tax base and allow us to provide greater resources to the community.
Absolutely, and in fact, one of the biggest criticisms we've heard from residents over the years has been the lack of shopping, the lack
Yes.
of retail. Tanger Outlets is here.
The Tanger Outlets
and
is here.
I know residents are very excited about it, and it's packed all the time. It makes it hard to get down there unless you go in the middle of the day,
Yes.
or something. But tell us about how important it is for residents to have choices in their own county. I know we have Cafer's Whole Foods in Riverdale Park. We have a number of other developments that are bringing retail to the county. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, that retail was really important because my young adults in my house were all going to D.C. spending their money.
Absolutely, yeah.
So now I tell them, okay, tell me what you want.
Right.
Because there's a polo shop at Tanger Outlet Mall, and there are the other shops. All the stuff for a long time people have asked to be in the county, Coach bags,
Right.
and things of that, or at Tanger. Also with MGM, you'll get the shops. You'll
Right.
get those high-end shops, and you'll get the quality restaurants. But you mentioned some other projects. Whole Foods. For years people have had a warehouse. We've had a warehouse for Whole Foods in
That's
the
right.
county.
That's true.
But not a Whole Foods.
Absolutely.
So we've got Whole Foods, we've got Wegmans, we're going to have a Harris Teeter's. It's going to come in Laurel area.
Right.
So you see all of these options in the county that residents didn't have before,
Right.
whether it's shopping, whether it's places to live, whether it's dining.
And that's it's all a part of making destinations, making places. They call it, I guess, in the development or the planning community, they call it placemaking, not
Right.
just a development or a project here or there. We're actually trying to
Right.
build places where people will want to live, work, shop,
That's right.
and then be entertained, all in the same kind of venue.
That's absolutely right. I mean, we're 500 square miles in Prince George's County. When I first ran for county executive in 2002, I talked about having nodes at that
Right.
time. That tells you how the
Right.
terminology changed.
Yeah,
They
right.
were nodes.
Right.
But really, they were destination points throughout.
Right.
So whether Laurel, New Carrollton, Branch Avenue, Akakie, Fort Washington, that you really had the opportunity to travel.
Sure.
So transportation was important.
Right.
The aesthetics, the environment, the cultural
Absolutely.
things. One of the things, if I can say real quickly, that I'm most proud of is we're working on revitalizing Suitland. I think that's going to be a great destination point for us.
Absolutely.
And both in terms of shopping, housing, and cultural.
Right.
We've got a great performing arts high school. Be great to have people come and hear our kids who are now dancing and singing worldwide.
Right.
Right here in the county.
Absolutely, no, that's true. And you mentioned transportation and the importance of that to economic development. We're all excited about the Purple Line.
Yes, we are.
We're working to get the federal piece of that. I think that's the only missing piece. Can you give us kind of an update of where that stands and what you feel that is in terms of our economic development picture?
Yeah, I went to a Purple Line rally, and the federal piece is moving.
Right.
And so we're very proud of that. Proud of the fact that the governor and lieutenant governor have put it in the budget, and extremely proud that Dr. Lowe, the president of the University of Maryland at College Park, came in. One of the first things he did was say, you know what, I support the Purple Line, and we're going to have it here. And so what it's going to mean to us is that people who now are taking the metro downtown,
Right.
and then having to take it up to Montgomery County can go straight across. So that's job opportunities here. It also means that at the University of Maryland, where it's going to be one of the anchor places, we're building a new conference center and hotel there.
Right.
So it means that now that they moved to the Big Ten,
Right, that's
we
right.
can get some of those folks who are coming in here to watch Ohio State play actually stay in Prince George's County and spend their money before they go over to the football game.
That's exactly right. And you touched earlier on trade missions. If you can change a little bit, can you speak a little bit in more detail about how that's been a benefit to the county and what's next on that front?
I'm looking forward to getting you on.
I'd love to go.
I've gone to two. The first one was to India, where, as you know, we have a number of Indian businesses that are located, American Indian companies that are located in the Maryland, Washington, D.C. area. So we want to compete with the world for expansion of those satellite offices.
Right.
8 O'Clock Coffee, that's right down the street from me in Chevrolet, is an Indian, basically, owned subsidiary.
Right.
So we were over there, and we were able to ink about 9 deals to bring companies to Prince George's County and who are going to have either their primary business here or satellite business.
Right.
In Brazil, we were able to ink about 5 letters of interest in businesses that are going to look at Prince George's County. I think Brazil is one of those places where they're now starting to understand the American market.
Absolutely.
And before, where they were going to Miami and California and New York, they're starting to look in the Washington region. And we have a prime opportunity to get them to invest in here.
Yeah, and I know that one of the big things also is trying to get our businesses more of an opportunity to export to other countries as well.
Yeah.
I know that's been one of the challenges is how do we get that volume of exports where that becomes financially viable for some of our local businesses.
That is a good point, because our businesses understand that, because we had the largest delegation both in India and in Brazil of companies based in Prince George's County who went along and said, we want to expand into these markets. We want to be part of them. The beauty of that is having the county government go with them as a partner to sell them to these other places.
Absolutely.
Is going to be important.
Now, shifting back domestically, we know as we bring a lot of these great projects to the county, one of the things we want to have is more of an opportunity both for our local businesses in procurement opportunities, but also hiring for our local residents. One of the challenges we've seen in the past with hiring has been workforce development.
That's right.
Can you speak a little bit to what we're doing in terms of workforce development and where that's going?
And let me thank you for your work on this and really bringing this to light, and especially bringing it to light at a time when growth is going to happen here. We both know that's going to take place.
Right.
So how do we make sure residents get jobs out of this?
Right.
How do we make sure local businesses, and especially local minority businesses that heretofore have not gotten any of this, are a piece of the team?
Right.
And with your legislation, it's going to help us do it. But it also, part of that is getting them ready for these deals.
Right.
We know, the hospital's coming, so we need to start working with these businesses now to get them up to speed. And so Roland Jones, who's our acting director of Central Services, is working on this along with Gwen McCall in EDC.
Right.
Our Workforce Development Office is preparing our young people and people who are returning to the workforce with the skills needed.
Absolutely.
Had a great meeting with our union partners about training. And so I think the moves we're making now in Prince George's County are the same type of moves you saw 10, 15 years ago in D.C.
Right.
And look at the development there and look at the company's growth there.
Right, and you touched on labor and our labor friends, and I know their focus has been a lot on wages and been on making sure we have good paying careers, not just jobs.
That's right.
And so I know that's a big priority for them. And really the Prince George's Community College has been a really great partner in workforce development, going above and beyond a lot of times what they really could afford to do, but doing it anyway because they know that they're an institution that has that kind of capacity.
You're absolutely right. They have been, Charlene Dukes has been a tremendous leader on this effort, even way before I became county executive. But they've really taken on a new leadership role. In fact, they're going to do a lot of the training in the hotel type of industry and even in the gaming industry with MGM.
Great. And in our closing few seconds, I want to again say thank you so much for being here. It's been a great conversation about economic development for the future of our county.
Thank you,
sir. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Well, thank you for joining us for this great conversation with our county executive about the county's economic development strategies and successes. That's all we have for this edition of Bringing the World to Prince George's County. My deepest appreciation to my very special guest again, Prince George's County Executive Rashawn L. Baker III. We are blessed to have him leading our team. Thanks to our viewers for tuning in. Bringing the World to Prince George's County is a production of the Prince George's County Council. I'm Council Chair Mel Franklin, your host, and I'm working to bring the world to Prince George's County.